Lord, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the officers of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and a faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and the welfare of our county, and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen. Thank you so much. Welcome, nominee Julius Koech, together with honorable members. And we want to do a bit of introduction so that as we proceed, we would have known one another. And I will start with my far left, and you can proceed, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. Our nominee, welcome.
Thank you.
My name's Honorable Francis Muya Mwangi, MCA Langas Ward, a member to this committee, and double up as a leader of minority in the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu. Congratulations for reaching this far.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to my far right.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Isaac, Honorable Isaac Samoe, MCA Kapsaus, a member of this committee, and Deputy Leader of Majority, Third Assembly of Uasin Gishu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Chair, I'm Honorable Isaac Kirwa Kemboy, MCA Kapsoya Ward, member of this committee.
Thank you so much. Proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am Sarah Malel, member representing Kimumu, and a member to this committee, at the same time the Deputy Speaker.
Thank you so much, our Secretariat.
Victor Bergen, Committee Clerk.
Thomas Albe, Sajinata.
Very well. I'm Honorable Amos Kiptanui, member representing Rescos Ward, and chair to this committee of housing and urban development. Mr. Julius Kipsang Koech,
Yes.
you are most welcome.
Thank you.
This is the Committee of Housing and Urban Development. And first and foremost, on behalf of this committee, I want to congratulate you for the successful interview and subsequent nomination by His Excellency the Governor, pursuant to our Constitution and the County Government Act, that you are supposed to appear before this committee as it is provided for in Section 45, subsection 1 of County Government Act, that after nomination by His Excellency the Governor, County Assembly will consider your nomination and for subsequent consideration. So you are most welcome. So kindly, Mr. Julius Koech, now we have confirmed you are the right person. Kindly tell us about who are you, and then we shall proceed from there. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Julius Kipsang Koech. I was born 48 years ago in Nandi County. That is where I grew up. Currently, I reside in Rescos Ward, here in Eldoret. I went to school in my village called Katani Primary School. Then I went to Kiliboni High School. I later trained as a primary school teacher. Later went to Moi University for my undergraduate degree. I have a Bachelor of Education degree. I have a Master of Education degree in Education Leadership and Policy. And I have a Master of Science degree in Human Resource Development. Currently, I'm pursuing my PhD at the University of Pretoria in South Africa. I've worked in government. I started working under Teacher Service Commission, where I briefly taught in a primary school. I was later taken in to teach in high school. I was later taken in to be a tutor the teacher training college, that is Mosorio Teachers Training College. Later, I got an appointment with Moi University as an administrator. And later, within the same university, I was seconded to work for an international organization called African Network for International of Education, where I was the program officer in charge of administration and finance. I later got a job with Nandi County government when devolution started in 2013. I was appointed a chief officer for devolution and special programs by the county government of Nandi, a position I held until the end of the term. That was 2017. Later, 2018, I got appointment again with the same county government of Nandi as the head of governance delivery units, a position that I still hold up to now. There are other responsibilities I hold. I'm a chairman of a board of governors of a high school, an active member of the church. I'm a farmer. I'm a father of many children, 1 son and 2 daughters. Briefly, Chairman, that is me.
Thank you, Mr. Julius Koech. When you first made your introduction, I was a bit worried that you didn't mention whether you are a married man or not, but it's good that you have clarified that. As you are introducing yourself, we were joined by one of the honorable members. I would request that you introduce yourself and then to the member of Secretariat too. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Gilbert Lagat, member of this committee and member representing Plombe Ward. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Miriam Sawe, the HR.
Thank you. You are all most welcome. Now, Mr. Julius Kipsang Koech, we want to believe you did apply for this position. Confirm?
Yes, I did, Chairman.
Thank you. As we proceed, members will be asking different questions, and so you could request that because they might ask a number of questions, but I will limit it to 4 questions at a time so that you can respond to each and every set of questions. So I want to begin by asking Mr. Julius Koech. You said you did apply for the position of Chief Officer of Housing and Urban Development. Kindly, briefly give us your basic understanding of a role of a Chief Officer of a certain department, given that in your CV you have shown that previously you have held such position, though not in this county, but in a different county, that is Nandi, in the first term of the government. So kindly, at least you have an information. Can you make us understand what is the role of a chief officer, and we shall proceed from there.
Thank you, Chairman. Basically, the role of a chief officer is the accounting officer for the department in respect to the delegated duties. There are duties that can be delegated by the Public Service Board, particularly on matters HR, basically on discipline. The day-to-day administration of the department is within the chief officer, and he participates as well on formulation of policies within the department, and also making communications to the executive on any matter that needs to be escalated to the executive committee level. So basically, it is the day-to-day administrative activities of the department the chief officer is in charge.
Mr. Hall,
I can still proceed, Mr. Chair,
kindly.
that I had mentioned earlier that there is a delegated authority from the Public Service Board on matters human resource, on matters staff, that when there is a disciplinary process or a procedure, it is the chief officer that communicates the same. The disciplinary process and the advisories. There is also the aspect of capacity building for the members of staff of the department, that every time, from time to time, we need to build the capacity of staff. The chief officer usually develops the budgets and budgetary allocations for capacity building for the members of staff of the department.
Thank you, but I would have, are you aware that if this committee will consider your nomination, you are going to be the accounting officer of the department?
Yes, sir.
But I expected you to have started with that.
I did mention, Mr. Chair.
You did mention?
I did mention.
Thank
I
you.
started with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, honorable members, kindly I want us to proceed to pose questions to Mr. Julius Koech in relation to the position that he has been nominated for. Kindly. Honorable Francis Moya.
Thank you, Chair. For that opportunity, Chair. And Bwana Julius.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How do you feel being there?
Quite well.
Thank you. Julius, you have described yourself whom you are. You started as a primary school teacher, climbed the ladder up to master's degree in something to do with human resource.
Yes, sir.
Because having seated there, you are being watched all over Kenya. I would like you to motivate young Kenyans who maybe did their KCSE and they attained a grade that does not allow them to go to university, and they feel that they have to start as an undergraduate degree. What is your advice to the young Kenyans? Because the issue of our students trying to fight to go to university have limited most of them. What is your advice to the Kenyans? 2, you have done masters in human resource related area. You have worked in Nandi County as a chief officer who commenced the disciplinary cases or action to an employee who find themselves in the wrong side of the law. What is the advice to the county, to any government or any organization when it comes to strictly following the disciplinary procedure? Because we find most of the government workers or county government workers, when they have been dismissed, they go to the labor court and they are reinstated. What is not done right? Because most cases we lose in court, and we find these employees either 5 or 6 years they have been reinstated, and we end up paying them a lot of money, and they have not been working. What does the public service department miss in county government? Because in the then defunct council, these cases were very few. But in the county government, these cases are too many. So many people have been dismissed, but most of them are being reinstated in court. What can be your advice to the county government of Uasin Gishu in relation to matters of disciplinary cases to employees coming to the area that you have applied? you have said that currently you are heading the service delivery unit in the governor's office. To me, I think that office is like coordinating office to all CECs and other departments for them to deliver to the people, to the great people of Nandi County. Don't you think that coming back to the CEO position, you'll be lowering yourself instead of even have asked a position of the CEC? What motivated you to change or to think going back to the CEO position and not in the government where you are known well in Nandi County, but you decided to come to Uasin Gishu? Yes, you reside in Uasin Gishu. Why? And you are in good books in the same government of Nandi County. What is this that is motivating you to cross border, come back to where you reside, that is Uasin Gishu County? I would like you to clear the air so that Wananchi can not see that as if we are engaging people from Nandi County, whereas we have our men and women educated in Uasin Gishu who can do this. Finally, you are becoming to be the CEO of Planning and Housing Department, and you have not worked or you have not done any course in relation to planning or what have you. You are a teacher by profession. You have done things to do with administration, and you ended up in the human resource related area. What is this that you have seen that you'd like to give to the people of Uasin Gishu in this docket? And in relation to that, what is your take? Currently, the national government, under His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, our president, we have the issue of affordable housing, whereby they are trying to come up with affordable housing units. What will be your take? Because in Uasin Gishu County, we have lands that are owned wholly by the Uasin Gishu County government. And in these lands, we have very old houses. We are earning maybe like 500 per unit. What is your take? Because this is an area that I'm hearing that the government is calling in an investor. The land is government, the county government, and Wananchi are going to come and buy. How have you conceptualized this idea, and how are you going to help the national government and the county government in realizing this important agenda of the housing unit? I raise my case, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other honorable member who wants to pose a question? Just to, as we are proceeding, we were joined in by another honorable member, Honorable Rebecca Makut. You are most welcome, Honorable Rebecca Makut, who is also a member of the committee. Honorable Rebecca.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me an opportunity to ask our nominee a question. How are you, Mr. Koech?
I'm very well.
Okay. Let me just speak from where Honorable Muya has just left. You know, I've just gone through your CV, and I've not seen anywhere you have worked for Uasin Gishu County. And yet, you are a resident of Uasin Gishu County for many years. Is it that you didn't get a job in Uasin Gishu County, or you had passion in working in your motherland? Because I believe Nandi County is your motherland. That is where you were born and brought up. My other question is, what are you going to do as a chief officer with the rampant complaints about mushrooming of houses, mushrooming of structures in municipality of Eldoret, where we are dreaming and planning that very soon it will be a city? There's a lot of complaint, structures being brought down, poor planning, designation of structures. I remember the original plan that was governing the municipality then, they had designated areas. Like, for example, Elgon View, it was designated that no one can subdivide the land into less than half an acre. Unfortunately, it's happening today. What are you going to do in that field? Because according to Honorable Moya's question, is your qualification or your professionalism is in education as a teacher. You don't have any document here on planning in the field of survey and planning, or even project planning and management. I think it's the same field of planning. So I am at a crossroad when it comes to a chief officer who is supposed to be an advisor to the governor, an advisor to the CEC, and the person to plan this town, for this town to get the credit of, to be a city, for this town to attract more investors, for this town to attract more tourists. It is the planning. So if the town is not planned, we have issues on traffic jam, we have issues on so many things according to planning. So my concern, Chairman, is about the credibility of being the chief officer of the said department. Number two, Chair, allow me to ask this also. What are the strategies? What strategies will you employ in providing leadership as a CEO in the department? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Julius, you can now answer the questions that has been posed. And members, I want to remind you that you need to have your assessment form with you so that as we proceed, you deal with it. Thank you. Proceed.
So thank you so much, Chairman. Let me start by the question from Honorable Muya on motivation to the students, particularly our children, who did not attain a requirement for university degree. It's quite a number. A very big percentage of them does not get that opportunity to get to the university. But I have done a lot of sensitization, having been a teacher, and I always try to advise that the sky is always the limit for everybody who did not even attain that minimum requirement for a degree. They can build from certificate, they can build to diploma, and all the way to degree. There are so many that are motivated myself, and I'm happy that quite a number of people where I stay, where I live, my village and my community have followed suit. I had an opportunity to work with the Moi University, and there was programs that were bridging students from certificate to the diploma all the way to degree. I liaise so much with the administration of the university to support students on that. Currently, we are doing a lot of support, financial, to pick students to do TVET programs so that they can also bridge to that other level. I'm a living example, and I've really taken my time to motivate students and community. And I derive a lot of pleasure from doing that. Another question was on the employment, the problem that usually the government has on discipline cases where an employee might be suspended or losing the job and then gets back, the government will use a lot of money to compensate. It is because a right procedure was not followed. For me, as a chief officer, being a nature expert, because you've seen my background also is human resource development, there are laws that should be followed to the letter in matters, discipline for staff. in matters progressing to that level where somebody is expelled or terminated. There are Employees Relation Acts that always guide the processes, that when an employee has a problem, there are procedures to be followed. One, first of all, on humanitarian grounds, you do a warning letter to a member of staff when you see something that is not clear on his or her performance. Once that one is exhausted, you show cause. I'm just trying to elaborate the procedure. Show cause as to why disciplinary action should not be taken against that employee. And if the cause is satisfactory, then you might proceed with the employee, but if it's not satisfactory, as a chief officer or somebody heading that department, you form a committee, an ad hoc committee, so that the decision now will be coming from committees, not coming from individuals, not coming from one head of department. That committee, it is the CEO now that constitutes that committee to listen to the employee. So once that one now has been done, and you may find that the employee really has done a mistake, the other committee can give a recommendation. When that recommendation is given now, if it's adverse, you proceed to give suspension to the employee. So I'm just trying to give a chronology of how it should be done so that we don't get into trouble. So once the decisions of the committee has been communicated, you do suspension. And of course, there are timelines that is given that up to this moment, you are supposed to maybe take legal response on the matter. And then from there now, the CEO or anybody else does not have any power to terminate to terminate an employee. That is the work of the Public Service Board. So you communicate all the decisions to the Public Service Board. We'll now take it up from there. Honorable Muya, if we follow the regulations, we'll not get it wrong. Sometimes we take shortcuts. Sometimes we act emotional. In government or in organization, strictly should follow. If we do this, something that I will strive to inbuild if given opportunity is those procedures and the laws and the policies. We'll not get to that mess. Another question was getting back again to what you had said before I proceed to the next question. All these problems comes from the fact that we don't communicate clearly to our employees. There is what you call job description and job specification. Sometimes we need to be very clear. We need to set goals and we need to set objectives so that employees can do what they are supposed to do. Sometimes as managers, we don't communicate clearly what employees are supposed to do. If we build capacity as well to make them understand their roles, build competencies within their job descriptions, more probably will not be able to get into these problems. These problems sometimes come through truancy. Somebody is not able to do the work, and they may decide to mess up with themselves. Sometimes when you scrutinize keenly, it's not them. It is the clarity of the job that was not clearly communicated to the employee. GDU, Governance Delivery Unit, indeed, it's a very good position. It's a very senior position. And I'm happy I did it to my satisfaction. And it is the role of the Governance Delivery Units in Nandi that I was heading that delivered the second term for the governor. I did a very elaborate coordination of the programs. By the time my boss was going for campaigns, what he had done to the community was very clear. because I took time to explain to people. I took time to ensure that programs and development activities were completed within time despite the challenges. However, I have a lot of passion in Uasin Gishu. This is my home. The only possession I have that belongs to me is in Uasin Gishu. I have been in Uasin Gishu for 15 years. All my children were born here. And I have a lot of interest in Uasin Gishu, particularly Eldoret town. That is why I applied for urban development, because that is where my passion is. It's not so much of about a change as good as rest. I didn't even think of, I'm coming this way to make a change. No, I did it deliberately, that this is my home county. This is where I need to settle the rest of my life. And this is where all my activities and programs will be. I wanted to share my experience and expertise to the people of Uasin Gishu. I wanted to give my strength, my might and my knowledge to Uasin Gishu. I think I'll not have made any mistake. I really want to be part of the development of Uasin Gishu. And I also like challenges as an individual. From the progress that you've seen, I always try, and I always try new things. When I heard that Eldoret is transiting to a city, that is what even motivated me more, that I want to face this challenge. That is why deliberately I applied for Chief Officer Urban Development, because I knew it's all about the administration of the town. Based on the little experience that I've had managing Kapsabet Town, because I was managing Kapsabet Town as the CEO for devolution and special programs, the executive order put the town in my department. So the town itself, the board, the municipal board was within my department. So at least I have an experience on matters management of town. I've gone through a lot of challenges and opportunities. I want to bring it all to Uasin Gishu. Housing. Housing is a flagship project for the president. You know it very well. The president is holding it very close to his heart. And housing is a basic need. It is stipulated in the constitution that every Kenyan must have decent housing. That is why this program by the president. I would first of all wish to consult heavily on this, because it has not been very clear to me, and it is something that I wanted to state it from the onset, that I would consult extensively on the approaches of affordable housing programs. When I applied for this position, I interrogated a bit about housing, and there was a missing link. And then I said, when I get an opportunity to be given this position, I think I'll sit with the committee for the department so that we enact a policy that will protect and guide us going forward. Because here is a situation where you cede land to a developer. A developer develops. A developer would like to get profits. This is an affordable housing program where we want to subsidize the rates. And again, our people will be paying for a very long time, 15 years, 20 years, an owner-occupier plan. What will we benefit as a county that we've ceded our land? What are we getting from our land? How will our people benefit? Because we want to target the low-class people, particularly our employees, priority. And of course, here is a developer private looking for profits. That is what I'm saying. I think we need to engage very clearly before I make any statement about housing, we need to engage and get a very clear way forward, particularly developing a policy that will guide us. Even if a private developer will come, we need to subject to our terms because the land belongs to us. On matters of dilapidated housing structures, because I've been in Eldoret for 15 years, I know Kidiwa, wherever, areas where we have the government houses, they are dilapidated. The design is old, and I've been made to understand even the county is getting very little revenue from the same because of the nature of the house. 500, 200, 1,000 at most. Very good houses in very good places going for 10,000. I would like to consult and engage with the committee, County Assembly Committee for the department, to see ways, particularly allocating funding for refurbishment. Although refurbishment, from my experience, is very expensive, if you facelift an old structure, sometimes you may not attain. The best thing is to go allocate funds for new housing units. If we allocate money as a county, the better, because we'll be able to manage 100%, and we'll be able to utilize the space, because from my interaction with the department, because I've tried to interact even before, because I had interest in this aspect of housing, there's a lot of space that we can utilize, a lot of it. And I propose that the committee strive to allocate funds for the county government of Uasin Gishu, Department of Housing, to do housing units affordable within ourselves, as we also try to engage with private developers so that you can see how we can, of course, expand the housing units. I don't have background on planning as such, but CEO is administrative.
Other Honorable Julius, kindly put your answers in a summary form, because we still have a long way.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. I don't have background on planning, but I've engaged quite a bit on the same. But I wanted to commit that from the onset, I will utilize the technical people in the department. There are fiscal planners, there are quantity surveyors, quantity officers. I will utilize them. I will utilize their expertise so that I'll complement with my administrative knowledge. Progressing to the question from Honorable Member, I've never worked in Uasin Gishu. It is true that I've never worked in this county. Maybe more universities in Uasin Gishu. That is where I worked, and I did a lot of projects within Uasin Gishu for more university. That is also brought me interaction with Uasin Gishu as a county. There has been complaints of mushrooming structures in this town. It is true, and it's a problem that cuts across all urban centers. I wanted to commit this way, Mr. Chairman, that given an opportunity, I will work with the I will work with the planners so that we develop a very proper spatial plan for this city. Hoping that I tend to think there is a special plan in place for the city. We'll interrogate and ensure that we implement all the proposals there are in. I had also indicated that I will try to activate the policies that maybe it had been suspended because there are designated areas where proposal of planning was done that in this place you cannot subdivide below a certain acreage. I wanted to commit member that we'll derogate what the policies were from the beginning and then enforce that those policies must remain in place. I think it's a matter of interrogating the policy in place and enforcing the policy. And then also the issue of the town. She mentioned traffic. Traffic actually is a problem here. But I would like to, if given opportunity, try to do an elaborate plan at that site, and then also try to operationalize so much on motorist travel. And motorist travel within the town is very important. What really brings about traffic in town is the pedestrian movement. And then again, of course, currently we have the bypass that is passing through the other side. It is operational. I think we need to divert heavy vehicles to take the other direction so that we have a proper order within the city center. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, our nominee, Mr. Julius. Honorable Isaac Samoei.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me, Chair, to go to instruct the members to go to curriculum vitae of the candidates. That is page number 1, so that I can make a case. I believe he's in a position to answer. Now, are we there? Then, according to what has been provided to us, the said candidate, nominee I mean, is pursuing his Doctor of Philosophy Education Policy Studies in University of Pretoria. And then indicated he started schooling the year January 2004 to date. Is it? Then, if you can go to his master's degree, he did his master's in the year 2013. Then it means that he enrolled in PhD, even graduating in his master's degree. That is question number 1, Chair. That is question number 1. Question number 2, Chair. Allow me to ask him one-on-one question.
Proceed.
Hiya. Mr. Koech, according to what you have filled in your questionnaire, it indicates you are working in Nandi County, is it? Are you still working?
Yes.
Answer yes or no.
Yes.
You haven't resigned?
I have not.
You have not resigned?
I have not.
Why?
I have not got another appointment. I've not got any other job.
So
I'm seeking.
So you are placing double bets. In
Not-
case you are given,
not really.
you
My
come and
term-
resign.
Sorry, Chairman. It's an honor.
It's okay. One-on-one question.
It's one-on-one question.
You answer
Thank you.
through the chair,
Thank
but
you,
not
thank you, Chairman.
necessarily that you look at eye
Thank you,
contact.
thank you, Chairman. My term is coming to an end, so I'm looking for a job. Yeah.
You are done?
Yes. And then, can I respond to the first question, Chairman?
Well, Isaac, do you still have one-on-one question?
No, that was the last one-on-one, and I have
Okay.
another one. Then
So, Mr. Julius, you wait, he concludes
All right.
posing the question, and then you will answer.
All right.
Now, another question, Honorable Koech. I believe you are aware Eldoret is going to becoming a city very soon, right?
Yes.
Now, there is something called master plan. And I've seen your papers, you are a career civil servant. For a town to get a city status, it must approved something called a master plan. A master plan outlines several measures, including the one you have talked about, the issues of traffic jam, the issues of street lighting and the rest. Are you aware by your own findings that is there any master plan for this county in place? Now, if it is there, how will you improve it? And if it is not there, what will you do? What is your take about the master plan? Have you gotten it?
Yes.
Then, last question, Honorable Koech. There is an influx by the name urbanization, rural-urban migration. Population coming from urban, coming all the way to live in urban places. Now, given the position of being the CEO in this department, what is your take, considering the land issue in urban is so scarce? People are coming to town looking for jobs, looking for a better place, looking for those social amenities that has been that has become scarce in the society. Now, given the position, what is your take about urbanization? Can we prevent people from coming to town? What policies do you see is better that is going to eradicate and prevent the growth of slums? Because that docket is properly specifically about planning, urban planning. What is your take as a scholar in this field? Though you have not mentioned much about the issues of urban, but I wanted to ask you so that when you respond, I may be in a position to say, at least you fit in that position. What are the policies? What are the mechanisms you are going to put in place so that this population of people coming all the way from urban will be catered for? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Mr. Julius, you can proceed on to answer those few questions.
So thank you, Chairman. First of all, I want to solemnly apologize for the typo error on my CV. I thought I corrected. I actually seen it, and I thought I corrected. It's 2014, Honorable Member. I was enrolled for a PhD, actually through a scholarship from the University of Pretoria. It's supposed to be 2014. So I'm sorry for the typo error, and I deeply apologize on that. Number two is the issue of the master plan. There is what we call, because I interacted with the Kenya Urban Support Program, the funding, and one of the requirements was the municipality must have a master plan. I think Eldoret also benefited from the same. Then I tend to think there must be a master plan for Uasin Gishu. However, the dynamics in Eldoret as it transits to a city is enormous. I could propose that given this opportunity, I will engage with the committee to check even if there is a master plan that existed before. I think we need to restructure because it's a city and we need to vibrate the city. We need to expand the city. So expanding the city means we expand the space. So we might do a spatial plan that will even encompass other areas outskirts of the town. The master plan existing must be limited to some areas in town. But now that we have had an opportunity to be a city, I think it is better for us to retreat and engage our minds to do a better of a master plan for Eldoret now that it's becoming a city. Urbanization. Urbanization has been a problem for a very long time. And there is a mass exodus of people from the upcountry to the towns. And this one has really given a lot of pressure to the resources in town. And, well, as leadership, as managers, we need to look into that. Land is very scarce. It cannot expand, but I'll go back to what I mentioned earlier, that we can do a spatial plan that will touch on the outskirts of Eldoret town, outside the municipality, so that we bring in more land to the town. Number two, we need to enhance service provisions on the outskirts of Eldoret town, like annex, like this side of Chepkoilel. If we make place habitable, if we take social amenities closer to the people, outskirts of town, if we make roads, if we take water, if we take street lighting, if we take health facilities, outskirts of town, people by themselves naturally will drift away from town. No one would like, people, nobody likes noise in town and all these sorts of. If you make the outskirts of town habitable, that is the way to go. And the policy or the proposal will be, let us extend the spatial plan for Eldoret to touch on the outskirts of the town. Okay, I think that is.
Thank you. Honorable Isaac Kemboy, member representing Kapsoya.
Okay, thank you, Chair, for giving me this opportunity. Bwana Julius Sang, congratulations for that farm.
Keep sang, yeah.
Julius Koech.
Yes,
Koech. Julius
yes,
Koech. Keep
thank
sang.
you, yeah.
Okay, thank you. You have elaborated much as far as the issue of Eldoret being the city. I don't know if you are aware as much of more challenges in this Eldoret town, especially the drainage work. If you come to Eldoret town during raining season, it is a mess. Therefore, the drainage system is required like yesterday. There are so many things which are required as Eldoret city to be a city, especially maybe the street lights, the good road network. We have some part of the urban centers we don't have even the sewer line for us to qualify might to be a city. So, Bwana Koech, because you have done maybe the issue of you have worked in Nandi County, so and we know you are if you will be given that opportunity, you are energetic enough to deliver much in this city, and you are saying you want to be part of this Eldoret city, as you have been the resident for the last 15 years. So my prayer is this, as the member of representing the urban areas, is we have been receiving much of the donor fund from maybe World Bank and other partners which want this city or the sister cities which want this city to be the best city in the world or in the Kenya. So my interest is the issue of the HR, because you are an HR practitioner. We have so many challenges. Maybe there is a conflict maybe in the issue of county government, and we have the municipality. So how are we going to separate the two now? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Gilbert, member representing Kiplombe. What?
Thank you, Chair. Our nominee, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
There are questions that I want you to respond. Number one, to what extent do you know Eldoret town in terms of percentage? Maybe villages, the boundary, and the wards that composes Eldoret town. Number two, there is this form that is the questionnaire. Do you own it?
I don't have a copy.
Do you own it?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask, that is number number concerning the charity proponent somewhere there. Yeah. They have said, describe what you have done by way of pro bono or charity work, listing specific instances, the amount contributed, and the amount of time devoted to each. And you have said that you have paid some school fees and college for is it for needy children, like 3. I don't understand what you have written here, but I wanted to know the amount that you have contributed. Number 2, these students, from which county do they come from, whom you have assisted? The next question, where do you cast your vote? I've seen that you are a member of UDA party.
Yes.
Did you participate in actively in politics of 2022? How did you help the governor of Nandi County so that he secured for his second term? Having been worked with him for his first term, whereby there were so many issues that arose during his leadership. We had some complaints about tires. We had some complaints about cement and many other things. How did you help your boss to come back for his second term despite so many allegations? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And before you answer the few questions, Mr. Koech, knowing very well that you will be in charge of Upper area, and more so the municipality boundaries, you will be more exposed in terms of settling disputes or confronted by such issues where you have people with diverse interests. We have the landlords, the owners of the buildings and the property within the municipality. We have entrepreneurs, matatus, boda boda, hawkers. How will you ensure that there is harmonious operation or working, as because we require all these people for the growth of economy of our upcoming city? And again, you say it, your role as a chief officer will be formulation of policies and much of administration in terms of your department. I don't know whether you are aware that we have a municipality board which its role and functions are more so of what you are going to do if given this opportunity. I don't know which approach are you going to apply to ensure that there is harmonious and good collaboration between the department of urban development and housing and also the municipal board, because I was privileged to serve in the previous administration, and Eldoret Town was converted a municipal charter which gave effect to the municipality of Eldoret. And by then, the leadership then were very hesitant to delegate what was supposed to go to the municipal board as it is provided for under urban areas and Cities Act 11 of 2011, where it enumerates and lists of functions of a municipal board. What do you think you are going to apply, given that your appointing authority will be the governor, and also we have another independent board, that is municipality board. So in the previous administration, there was a bit of hesitation. So I don't know how you will convince your boss, His Excellency the Governor, if this opportunity will be given to you, to ensure that you also appreciate the role of Eldoret City, which we know very soon it will be. Thank you. If there is no other question, you can proceed to answer the few.
So thank you.
Maybe before then, I want to give to Honorable Francis Muya.
Thank you. Chair, I want to give my second round of questions. One, Bwana Koech.
Yes, sir.
You are coming to a sector whereby you will be leading the planning team or the planning section. Most of our trading center, especially the peri-urban, have not been planned, meaning that there is no proper plan, and therefore people have not gotten the title deeds. What will be your take the moment you assume this role to help our people in the towns and trading centers which are not yet planned? Two, you stated that you are interested to be in this department because you like challenges. Eldoret town being an upcoming city is a plan that already sometimes we find ourselves into traffic jams, and yet we are not a city, especially Fridays. And because you have lived in Uasin Gishu for 15 years, you might be aware of this. What have you observed and what are you coming with to unlock this so that the resident of Uasin Gishu, especially Eldoret town, which was, we hear that it was planned for around 50,000 people during the 15,000. But today we are in 1.5. What are you bringing in to make sure that we unlock this issue before we find ourselves the situation like Nairobi City CBD, whereby during traffic jam area, you prefer even using a motorbike for you to not to be late where you are going? What are you coming with? And on the same, there is no town without business community. And there is this issue that there has been claims from the business community, they're being harassed. And the last incident is that our market was closed. Even before the president offered to build a modern market, we had already closed the. How did you take that? And what will be your advice? Because currently we are not talking about taking back the traders there, but we are looking forward for it to be built a story building market, meaning that there will be a lot of people around there. There is no bus station, meaning that there is some amenity that will be lacking. What will be your advice to the county government of Uasin Gishu? Yes, the national government through the goodwill of His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, have offered to build a modern market in that area so that everybody can fit in. What will you advise the county government of Uasin Gishu so that all these amenities will interlink to each other? The other thing, if you have been here for the last 15 years, some of us, we were born here, born and blended here, and the Jew Askari sector have been left alone. They have been working in inside undeveloped lots. And each and every day, when developers come and build, these people are don't have anywhere to do their work. And we need them on daily basis. You are driving, I'm driving. I'll not take my vehicle to Associated Motors. I'll take them to the Juakali man. What will you, as a planning man, what is your advice to the county government of Uasin Gishu? What are we supposed to do for the Juakali sector, finally? In Uasin Gishu County, we are in need of office space of our officer, including maybe you, such that we have rented even KVDA. I'm sure that you are conversant with the county government headquarters. We have a very big land. We have a court, local there. We have undeveloped areas. What can be your advice for us to move from renting office spaces to having our own building, being a planner or coming to head that section? What will your advise, or you will tell the government of His Excellency Jonathan B to continue renting houses? KVDA, tomorrow we are going to hear maybe Daima Towers, and that one will shoot our recurrent budget. What will be your advice so that we can have these offices maybe in one area, so that when you go, it's a one-stop shop. You are here, and you are. What will be your take? Thank you, Chair.
May I proceed to answer the questions that are before you?
Thank you, Chairman. Let me go back to the first question on challenges in town, particularly on drainage. And the towns usually come with a lot of challenges because of population. There are quite a number of areas that we need to address, but the challenge has been finances. We have very scarce resources. If we had plenty of it, we could do as much as we need, but we are limited with funding. And I think Eldoret as a municipality or as a city benefited a lot. It was helped a lot by the Kenya Urban Support Program, a donor-funded program. I wanted to propose this, Chairman, that I did before some proposals where I was working, and I attracted some good funding, and from the documents that I presented. In my mind, I'm thinking, because the allocation we have and the activities we have are many, we need to retreat to develop proposals on friends and organizations that might come in to support activities and projects in town. As it transits to a city, I think we'll have a lot of opportunities and a lot of organizations that are willing to support us. I know drainage is a problem. I know street lighting is a problem, but all those requires a lot of brainstorm within ourselves so that we can see how we'll get out of that problem. I'm proposing this way, that given opportunity, I'll engage with the committee members, I'll engage with the technical people, we try to develop proposals, we get funding to support the city. About Uasin Gishu, there isn't much I know about demographics of Uasin Gishu, because as much as I've been here for 15 years, it has been my job and, of course, my other activities. But at least I'm aware of the wards. Probably quite a number are touching the town, go to Kapseret, coming all the way to the town. Racecourse, coming all the way to the town. Kiblombe, all the way to the town. Of course, Langas. At least there is something I know about the map of the wards of Uasin Gishu. But of course, as an officer of government, I will now get deeper into getting the knowledge of the boundaries and the dynamics of every ward, and of course every village, every unit, so that I'll be able to, of course, because part of my work is to distribute resources and activities to get to every devolved unit. You talked of, the charitable, maybe I didn't get the requirement clearly, but it was, I picked the charity and I was very excited to put what I've put, because I did mention that I've been supporting some students to access opportunities. And I did mention earlier that I've done a lot of outreach. What is alive now is what I mentioned. There are so many that I did before. I did mention that. But what is alive now is the support of some college fees and some students that I'm supporting. You mentioned where they come from. One comes from Wasingishu. I feel like called Songoliet. There are people I know. You know, Nandi County has relationships with Wasingishu County. So quite a number of people that we even support. When somebody has a problem, when a parent comes, he has a child who is needy. You don't even look at where somebody is coming from. You look at the parents and you look at the problem. So you just support. I can't even remember any other instance when I've tried to scrutinize where somebody comes from.
What you want to inform Honorable Rebecca? Nominee Julius, do you want to be informed?
Yes.
I want information.
Oh, you want information from him?
From him.
Okay, proceed, Honorable Rebecca.
Thank you. Our nominee, Mr. Koech, I've heard you saying you've assisted one child from Songoliet in Wazingishu County. I'm interested in where you are staying. You said you live in Rescos and you have stayed there for 15 years.
Yes.
Do you bypass sometimes a place called Hill School, where a place which is a slum area? The poverty index in that area is very high, and we have orphans and less fortunate families that deserves and needs assistance for school, since you had the heart of staying and being part of Wazingishu, especially that Rescos area. I don't know if you've gotten my question. Chairman, through the chair. Have you understood what I'm asking?
Yes.
Yes, because within your environs, the charity issues that is normally asked here is that humanitarian in you, within you, around you, within your environs, who have you assisted? You know, there are so many slum children around you. And I expected you to say, I have taken 2 or 3 children from Hill School to Wareng, which is just across the slum area. And you know, the school fees of that place is very minimal. Yes, something like that. I think I'll be more comfortable if I could have had somebody from the slums. Thank you, Chair.
There's a saying which says charity begins
at home.
At home. So maybe shed more light on that.
So thank you, Chairman. Let me respond to that one directly before I proceed with the question. I have not actually gotten into supporting the needy within the environment where I've stayed. I've actually been interacting with that problem for a very long time, but unless now I think of a program, Honorable Member, because actually it's a tall order. It's a very tall order to get into supporting the problems that we come across. However, I wanted to put it this way, that where I lived in Rescos, my farm hand is somebody from Langas. Somebody who is milking my cows is a lawyer from Langas. He needs not to milk, but I build his capacity. And I'm happy his children are going to school because of the little proceeds he's getting from me.
Order, Chairman. The nominee is out of order.
Order, Honorable Isaac. I have not given you the mic. Proceed.
Mr. Chairman, I was responding to the Honorable Member that I've interacted with challenges within the community where I live. By bringing them to work for me and getting something at the end of the day is also a bit of a support.
Yeah. I just wanted a yes or no, and then we move on.
Okay, Mr. Julius, remember I reminded you that when you are answering, kindly learn to condense your answers.
Right.
When you expound, you could be
Thank you,
entertaining or inviting more questions.
Thank you, Chairman.
Kindly.
Thank you, Chairman. So have interest, I'll look into that, Mheshimiwa. I'll support.
On Julius,
Yes.
Julius, nominee, she has given you an in. Is it yes or no? Have you ever assisted anyone within your neighborhood?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry for that, Honorable Member. Okay. So I was in knowledge of the wards, and from which county I think I responded to
yes,
that.
Yes, you have answered that.
Yeah. Where do I vote?
Yes, and also your working relationship with the governor of Nandi. He mentioned a number of issues, though we might not entertain that, Honorable Member. The issues of yes, nobody has a fact in regard to that. Those issues of and as a chair, I want to direct that the issue of we heard that tires got lost. I think that one I will direct that don't respond to it. Maybe the issue of 14 Pugostos are personal issues. It has not been confirmed, and we don't want to be, because we are live, we don't want to be quoted anywhere or elsewhere that we are propagating some propaganda or hearsay. So kindly, with a lot of respect, Honorable Gilbert, and only answer on the issue of where do you fought, and maybe any other question that is sought from you. Proceed.
Thank you, Chairman. You've ruled, but I could have had pleasure to respond, but you've ruled. I vote in Nandi, Mkwen constituency, a polling station called Katanin. That is my ancestral home. That is where I vote. Now, there was a question on dispute resolution on landlords, entrepreneurs. It is a very common problem, disputes of people doing business in town. But I thought, Chairman, what you could do is to have very clear designation of areas of skill. If we designate that this area is for a particular activity and this area is of a particular activity, I think we'll be able to sort out the problem of conflicts. We'll team up together as well so that we plan areas where a particular business could be placed. There was the issue of municipal boards as an independent unit. I wanted to, the Urban and Cities Act will guide us. It is very elaborate and it is very clear. The roles of the municipal boards is clearly stipulated in the Urban and Cities Act. There is not much independence on the municipality. It derives powers from the county government. So I think it has only not, that conflict should not be there. When I come in, Mr. Chairman, I want to harmonize the two functions. We are related. They cannot work in isolation. We cannot work in isolation. My policy will be, as a CEO for the department, I want us to work together within the law stipulated. That is my take, Mr. Chairman.
But Mr. Koech, maybe I want to correct you that municipal board is independent. It does not require to negotiate with anyone. It is the working approach is mutual working relationship. Otherwise, it is independent because it has a charter. It has its own seal, perpetual succession, and whatever. So maybe if you will be given opportunity, kindly you need to familiarize yourself with the municipal board. What was it, Honorable Isaac Samoy and then Honorable Rebecca?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to make the final set of questions, only two. One is the issue of...
Honorable Jepule, who said that will be the final set of questions?
To me.
To you, eh?
To me.
Okay.
To me.
So I should not give you any other opportunity when...
Most obliged.
Even if you will be provoked by the answer from the nominee.
Maybe on a point of order or clarification.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you, our able Chair. My question goes to issues of non-motorist transport. I can explain to you so that you can answer if you don't know the meaning of non-motorist. That is issues of bodabodas, handcarts, mkokotenis, trolleys. They are rampant in town, if you are not aware. Now, given the position, Mr. Koech, to be CEO, urban planning, what is your take? Do you think in a city called Eldoret, should we go on entertaining issues of handcarts, mkokoteni? Just imagine a visitor coming from all the way from US or whichever county, and is being obstructed by these non-motorists. In that position being given, what policy measures will you take, Mr. Koech? Number two, public bus parks and terminus. God willing, if given the green light by this Honorable House and subsequent appointing authority, the terminus that we are having in this city was planned way back 40 years ago. We have the main bus park, we have the Kapsabet bus park that is, Sosiani bus park that is there, and another new one along the road that is called Tagore. Because we have facelift the status of Eldoret town, what is your take? What will you do to unlock that terminus to be out of town, out of the city, so that you can we can have a flow of traffic? Because majorly the cause of traffic is bus terminus, and precipitated by the terminus being inside the town. What is your take? Will you recommend the bus park to be reallocated from town? Thank you, Chair.
Was he continuing with the question, or you want to add? You want to fertilize? Or the mouth want to come back to you? Oh, continue. Continue.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I have About 2 or 3 questions. One, you know, we are Kenya and Africans, and we are Eldoret people, if I can be precise. Not the last government, the chief officer, he would wake up one morning and demolish structures, wasting resources that people of this was an issue have invested for many years. I want to know from you how you are going to handle such cases, because there are people who are given approval to build houses way back in the municipality, and if there is a way such people can be handled, we even saw it sometimes back in the national government, people demolishing people at night. That thing again has happened in Uasin Gishu, and we feel it should never happen again. How are you going to handle such cases? Number 2, how are you going to balance your professionalism and politics? Because I would wake up one morning and one thing's my way. The governor will wake up one morning and give orders. And I believe you are the person who is supposed to advise the governor on what to do and what not to be done. Number 2, Chairman, as a CEO, how do you intend to deal with senior officers in your department who do not practice government policies and procedures as expected of them? How will you deal again with the cartels? Because I believe that is the area, gray area of the cartels. Anything to do with planning and lands, it is just, in quote, so many cartels runs up and down in those offices. How will you gap? Because we want to have a county that it is so transparent. And just finish this story of cartel. In fact, cartel is a very bad name. It should be a forgotten one in the regime that we are in. Again, you as an accounting officer, the only person authorized in the department, what strategic plans do you have for the staff in your department? Because those are the people you are going to work with. They are the people to give you first information. How are you going to handle? How are you going to motivate the staff in that department? How are you going to do the retention, to retain a staff who is qualified in that department, the best employees in your department, so that you can work with them? Finally, Chairman, I also want to ask our nominee. Basically, is the overall team leader managing the department. How are you going to manage your department? And those decisions that you are making in that department, will you make these decisions that we will stand by it, or you will make decisions that if I come in the morning, you will tell me something different from what you will come and tell my chairman in the afternoon? Making those tough decisions, how are you going to handle that? Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, maybe you can proceed to answer those few questions.
So thank you, Chairman. Let me start with non-motorist travel that was elaborated by Honorable Member, which I think it is about decongesting the town. That is brought about by the congested terminal, bus parks, bus stations, bus terminus. I was provoked to think that, well, it is prudent, it is wisdom to take it away from town. It is wisdom to take the bus terminus from the town center to the outskirts. But then again, I was provoked to think that we were talking about the border and the handcarts. If we put the bus terminals at Langas, for example, or Kiblombe up here, it means again people will be utilizing motorbikes and whatever to get to the town to take their wares or their items to closer to where the bus parks are. I think it's a problem, really, that we need to sit down and try to brainstorm on ways of sorting out the problem. Because I know if we take it away, then it means again we're encouraging more motorbikes to the town. Mr. Chairman, I think we will control extensive on the same so that we see the best approach that we can use to decongest the town. The aspect of demolishing the structures, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to commit that it will not be me to do that because you are destroying somebody's livelihood. You are destroying somebody's assets. The best thing is for us to reason together so that if it is demolition, we do it in a very humane way. If we meet and discuss something, then we'll be able to sort out the problem without necessarily hurting anybody. How will I balance politics and professionalism? It has been the order of the day for me. I've been in a political environment for the last 10 years, and reason should always prevail. That the guiding principles usually is the law. There will never be any conflict if we engage with the legislative arm of government. That when you want to sort out when you want to address or approach an issue, let us see consensus from the leadership of the people, because the legislative arm of government represents people. And there is no way that we can conflict. I think we need to reason, come together to a middle ground, and then make resolutions from there. What am I saying? That I'll consult on those such matters. I'll not do demolition unless it is a policy framework that has been exhausted by the legislative or the representations of the people. Senior officers, I have interacted with that problem for quite some time. Senior officers are very good people. They are institutional memories of the departments. But then at some points, they are not motivated. At some points, they are not recognized. It is natural for somebody, or 50 years or so, when a young man from the university comes, they always feel some complexes, the inferiority or superiority. Something that as government, as a nature expert, I know how to handle it. Clarify policies, clarify roles for everybody. If this is your work, it belongs to you and you should do it. Don't cross into somebody's work. I think that has been where we've been getting challenges. Then number two, workplace relationships. Workplace professional relationships is very important. There is budgets for team building, budgets for capacity building. I think I'll be able to work on that as well to ensure that there is workplace professional relationships, there is capacity building, trainings, team buildings. That one will bring about harmony in departments, that everybody will feel I belong here, that everybody will feel I have not been pushed away. That is what I will strive to inbuild. Cartels. I've worked in a senior level county government for 10 years. And if somebody is not towing the line, then he has no business working in the department. The buck will always stop at the governor, the deputy governor, and the member of county assembly when mistakes are done. So I think we should try as much as possible to ensure that somebody toes the line on matters execution of their mandates and duties, so that we don't get into trouble. Sometimes you get into trouble because of the making of one person. One person can make a mistake and then it can bring down the whole government. So that is, to me, I want to commit that anybody who is not doing the right thing will engage the law and ensure that we bring on board people who are willing to work for the people. That is my take, Mr. Chairman.
Chair, were all questions exhausted?
Order, honorable members. I want us to be orderly.
You know, Chairman, I spoke about the cartels because it is in public domain that Nandi County are leading in the cartels mix. And because he was working there, I expected him to tell us how he is going to make sure that that name of cartel is going to be
order, honorable member. Order, honorable member. I want us to refrain ourselves from maybe making reference to other counties without which you cannot substantiate. So kindly, Honorable Rebecca, could you withdraw that statement?
I withdraw and apologize.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, and
point
then
of
we
order,
go
Chair.
to
The question is, were all the questions exhausted? Yes, I know I had gone out, but the period I went, the other questions were not answered.
Honorable Muya, your questions were satisfactorily answered, and we took up on your behalf. And
If
so,
he did,
Honorable
thank you.
Sarah Malel.
Thank you, Chairman. First and foremost, let me start by congratulating Mr. Koech, having made it this far to be nominated to serve in this capacity by the appointing authority. And for us to vet you, yes, today it has been a long journey, I believe. The docket you have requested that you can be of substance to this county is the urban development. Eldoret Town preparing itself to becoming a city. This docket of yours will be one of the crucial dockets that we are anticipating you to work to make sure that you bring Uasin Gishu County into the map of Kenya to be the best voted investment destination. I would like to know how will you be of value to this county in relation to connecting us maybe with the national government programs so that we tap whatever it is at the national level to develop our urban towns here. And I want to believe that your docket also will be dealing with the upcoming towns, not necessarily within the CBD alone. And I don't know whether you are aware of those upcoming towns also, that the national government programs also intends to do the affordable housing at the upcoming towns in the rural areas. Number two, Chair, Eldoret Town, being an urban part of it, the urban part of it, have so many issues, and I want to believe that the issues of zoning, the issues of maybe how you would want Eldoret town to be developed so that it can be attractive to everyone. I know you've talked about existing spatial plans and maybe thinking about modernizing them so that it can suit the needs of the city status currently. I don't know, when given this opportunity, what will you do in the first 100 days to make sure that we have a chief officer in town that wants to plan Eldoret town in preparation to becoming a city?
Addition, please. Final.
Okay, Honorable Muya.
Thank you. Bwana Koech, you have been in government. And in county governments, every end of a financial year, there is what wananchi are told, pesa ilirudishwa kwa serikali. To me, it's the rollover of development money. Because you are an insider of a government, what can you tell this committee that we need to do as a county government of Uasin Gishu to make sure that we reduce this rollover issue, because it is ailing our government? Two, the department that you are going to take, I think it's yours. It is all over. I hope Chair will not tell me to substantiate that the building plans, people who have submitted their building plans to be approved, most of them are complaining they have paid everything, but they are taking too long for them to be approved. What are you coming with, or what will it be take to make sure that they are being approved in the shortest time possible? And if it is the issue of bribery, I'm not sure whether it's there. It is not where in your department. Thank you.
Proceed to answer, Mr. Koech.
Yeah. So thank you, Chairman. The question on urban development as my department, what will I do? First of all, I wanted to commit to the committee that I will try to make Eldoret City an orderly town, an orderly city, and a city of opportunities. My immediate interest is an engagement with the technical people in the town. My immediate engagement will be with my county assembly committee, so that we all brainstorm on the best of approaches that can move us forward. I know there are so many strategic plans in place that had been developed before, but as a new entrant, I would like to interrogate with all of us what was there before, so that we harmonize with the thinking that we have presently to enable us move forward. My interest so much, as had been mentioned by Honorable Member, is something that I had mentioned earlier, that the resources are very scarce. The county appropriation is very low, and we have so many activities, but then we have a lot of work to be done in town. I will try as much as possible. I've tried it before elsewhere, that as I mentioned, let's do proposals for funding. But then again, there is a lot of opportunities from the national government. If we are aggressive enough to partner and to consult and to visit national government offices, we'll not miss an opportunity. We've already had people who are making interests to come and do housing programs. Private developers, the National Housing Corporation, we have the CBF, and quite a number who are willing to support programs within the city. I think I'll be open to the same. I will engage the committee and we'll try to go out of our way to seek a better funding to support our city. What will I do?
Just chair, through the chair.
Yes,
on that issue of finances, I appreciate your acknowledgement that resources are limited. I would like to know what is your advice, the way Moya puts it, to the county government of Uasin Gishu, because we always have as a county the debt management paper. And the county government can sometimes decide to borrow to finance capital projects. I don't know what is your advice so that we achieve development in the shortest time possible, at the same time see whether we can have mechanism in place to repay debts.
Proceed to answer.
Yeah. I can't respond so much on borrowing because it's not yet very clear the framework of a government borrowing. But maybe I will interrogate more on that approach. But there is also another local remedy of ensuring that we expand on our local revenue collection by putting up proper systems that will prohibit leakages. If we ensure that our revenue streams are enhanced and managed well, I think we'll be able to get a coin or two on top of what we've been getting. I will participate in trying to ensure that the revenue base is expanded because the revenue base actually for our county is the towns. So that is my docket. I'll ensure that we create a very conducive environment that will allow many people to do business. The more they do business, the more we get revenue. Yeah, 100 days. Zoning is the way to go for the town. Excuse me. We need to do zoning so that we maximize the opportunities. Some other places are more improperly designated for a certain business than others, and then we enforce the zoning proposals. Otherwise, there is a lot that can be done within the 100 days. I cannot, because I don't know what is in place. I know the concerned departments have so many documents and ongoing policies and programs. I would like to come and interrogate those ones, and then we harmonize our thinking, all of us, and then we move forward.
Thank you. As we head towards conclusion,
there is
there's another question.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's another question from Honorable Muya. Money unutilized. It's a very common problem. I've interacted with it before. As I told you, at some point I was as Chief of Finance for Nandi County at some point. The problem has been disbursement from Treasury. That is one. Number two is low base of procedures. There are timelines all the way from the 1st August of the letter from the CS, the ADPs and the CPROP and all those to the approvals. if we are aggressive enough to ensure that we keep to the timelines of acts, I think we'll be able to utilize our money appropriately. We will try. I know it's a challenge that is cutting all across, but for me, I could advise that we stick to the timelines and then ensure that we forecast on projects that requires a lot of procedures. If projects requires a lot of procedures, then we bring them forward so that we deal with that first, and then maybe those other programs that require whose procurement procedures are flexible.
Through the chair, maybe to be precise, for department like roads that have development of big use, what is the advice?
Sometimes the problem again is the staff that are not the law. What I could propose is
Chair, I think he's taking too long to answer this. Having worked as a chief officer finance, as a chief officer finance, he need to have these things at the fingertips. What is not being done to necessitate the law over? He do not want stories. What brings about the law over? One, you have said is the disbursement of money from the treasury, but from the county, what is the issue?
Yeah, I spoke of the delays within ourselves on the procurement procedures and not keeping to the timelines. Basically that. And then number two, on the issue of roads that you've mentioned, we need to build the capacity of the quantity people so that they can be able to develop the bill of quantities and the documentations within the time so that it can facilitate roll out of programs.
I hope through the chair you are talking about maybe developing the tender document or whatever. When within the quarters that we have in a year, at what quarter should it be ready? Because the budget is passed by 30th June ordinarily.
Yeah.
When should be these tender documents be ready so that it does not delay us from the execution of works?
Let me interrogate that one further, Honorable Member, so that I get very clear.
Thank you for that sincere and honest submission. The approval of building plans, the bureaucracy behind the delay in approval of building plans, how will you handle that? Because it is there.
Usually, it is also honest. Many people don't follow the procedures.
Maybe you have taken too long. He's dragging himself. He needs to know that there is a problem in the time taken of the approval of building plans, and we need it streamlined if you get there.
I was responding, Honorable Chair.
Proceed, Honorable Julius.
I'm saying, because I've interacted with this problem before, sometimes people don't follow the procedure, the policy.
Which people now? Is it the applicants or
the applicants? Okay. I refer to the applicants.
Chair, I don't want us to go that direction because I stated people have done all what is required of them, submitted their plans to be approved, but they go office after the other saying my plan has not, but they have paid everything, literally everything. So it's not it's not from the applicant.
It is administrative approach, by the way. It requires administrative approach. Maybe order. I think that is an issue, it's a problem, and you might not have specific answer to that. And maybe just know that if this house is going to approve your name, you then go and think on how to deal with it. Because if I were you, maybe you come up with a tracking system of tracking and every application, so that any moment an issue comes up, you need to know. You digitalize it, you make it in soft copy, so that you'll be able to monitor what is being done. Because at some point, I know your signature and the signature of CC is required at some point. So maybe, I don't know, honorable members, anything to add on that? And maybe, as we conclude, nominee Julius, because unlike other nominees that I have interacted with, yours is a bit unique in terms of your experience, that you have worked and you're still working with politicians. In your submission, you said you will work with the committee. Yes, I want to believe it is not for now. I want to believe it will work to when that time comes. How have you been advising His Excellency the Governor of Nandi on how to work with the other politicians, especially the County Assembly? Because we have had challenges. What could be some of the challenges that maybe members of County Assembly representing different areas have towards implementing government policies? Have you ever had such experience where you are working? And what will you say, or what would you advise this committee? And for your information, majority of the members of these committees do represent municipal area, majority, 90%. So as you answer, and if God will give you that favor, all that you have said, you will be responsible to it. So kindly, I don't know if any member has anything to answer.
Anyone,
okay.
a final one. Bwana Koech, I'm told that it is not that you wanted to apply for the position of the CEO, planning and housing, but it is because of how you finance the current government of the county government of Uasin Gishu. How true is this? Can you exonerate yourself?
That's not true. Responding to your question, and before I go to that one, allow me to get it back to Honorable Muya on delay in approvals. If I get opportunity to be approved, you'll not hear of the same again. That is my commitment. Honorable Chair, it is very important for seamless working relationship with the executive and the county assembly. I was one of the advisors of my governor for Nandi County. And even on my document, I wrote him as a referee because I've had very good relationship with him. I would still advise the current governor, if given an opportunity, that the way to go, the way to succeed, the way for this county to develop, to blossom, it is harmonious relationship with the county assembly. And Mr. Chair, I'll commit as one of the advisors of the governor, I will always insist that let's work together closely with the people, the leadership that represents the people, because the voice of a leader is the voice of the people, and we should listen to the voice of the people. So consultation and working together is my advice to the boss.
Thank you. Now, as we come to the end of our interview with our nominee, I want to give you 2 minutes to make your prayer to this committee, or a parting shot. What do you have to say? And we shall learn that. I want also to recognize the presence of Honorable David Kaitan, a member representing Serco Edward, and he has come as a friend to this committee. So welcome, Honorable Member. Though we are at the point of conclusion, I want to give to Nominee Julius Koech to make his final submission. Proceed, Julius.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Let me take this opportunity to say thank you for this session. Thank you so much for very clear questions that you've put to me. I'm requesting that you approve me. I have interest to work with you. If you approve me, I'll work with you for the betterment of the people of Wasingishu. My loyalty is to the governor. My loyalty is to the leadership of Wasingishu. And my loyalty will be to the people of Wasingishu. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Julius Koech, for your for having interacted with this committee smoothly. On behalf of the committee, I want to wish you all the best. Members have picked a number of issues, and this committee will proceed to make their determination or proposal to this House, which will be considered by the whole House. So I want to wish you all the best, and if given that opportunity, the best way to work with this House is consultation. So on that note, this session stands adjourned. Thank you.